Hey there, welcome to PHP Laravel SMS web tutorial. In this video, we will talk through the process of creating a member registration feature that sends SMS notification. We will cover everything step by step so you can easily follow along. Step 1. Preparing template. To start, we need a registration form for our members. Create an HTML form with a field like name, email, and phone number. This form will let users enter entire details and registration. Yes, so let's go back to our project from where we started and start preparing that functionality. Alright. Alright, so in our last video, let's start our PHP project to see what we did in our last video. So this is where we ended in our last video. So in this video, we are going to tackle how to prepare this template to suit our need. Okay, so let's get on with it. So I want you to go to your VS Code, your test editor. Since we separated everything into models and components, let's look for where we have our sidebar to tackle that first. Alright, it looks like we didn't separate the sidebar from the main code. So what you would want to do is you look for where we have a class called left sidebar. I would want you to cut it off. Create a new folder in the include called components. And create a file called sidebar. Alright, in the new file created, I would want you to paste the code that you just cut from the main source into the sidebar file. What you would want to do is you would want to include it into the main file. In here we have what component, we have our sidebar. Okay, so here we only need three options. So what I would want you to do is I would want you to cut most of the options that are provided here. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to remove this other list. This is the main other list that holds the whole sidebar. Now in here we have an option called the home, and down the home has a submenu that gives you the dashboard 1 and the dashboard 2. So I would want you to cut the home. We don't need this particular list. We also don't need this one. We don't need this one. We need a calendar. We don't need this one. We also don't need this one. We also don't need this. All right. So as I said earlier on, we need only three options. Select options, right? We're going to remove everything and keep only three. All right. So now what I would want you to do is I would want you to change this calendar to home. When you scroll down here, I want you to change this to members. down below the members, it has a submenu. The submenu, we need only two lists, which is all members and add member. Now when you come down here, we need to write SMS. Here too, we are going to need only two lists, which is single SMS and bulk SMS. All right. So now let's save and see what we have now. Okay, you can see everything is working perfectly fine as we planned or as we need it. So now what you want to do is you want to remove all these things that you are seeing here because we don't need them. So in order for you to remove it, you would want to go to the file called welcome, and I will want you to get this main container, a class called main container, and clear everything from there. You come down here too, and I would want you to clear everything from here too as well because we don't need them. Okay, so let's save and see what we have. You can see we don't have anything here. So in the future, what you're going to do is we are going to put 6 cards that tells the total number of members in the system, and then each row and the number of people in that particular row. All right. So what we are going to do next is let's tackle step 2. We have completed with task 1. So step 2, in your Laravel project, head over to the route. We are going to define a compulsory URL where your registration form will be accessed. Okay, so basically we are going to create a route where we can find our form, right? So bear along with me as we create the route together. So in order for you to create your route, what you would want to do is, excuse me. All right. So in order for you to create your route successfully, I would want you to navigate to the folder called route. And when you press the folder called route, you are going to see a list of files. You would want to click on the web.php. Right. So here is where we define our route. In here, I would want you to write this block of code. We have the route, and we are going to use a get method because we want to be getting things at the moment, right? So the name of the route will be register member, and we specify a controller to it. We've not created our controllers yet, but then let's just write a dummy controller, that is a member controller, right? That is the name we are going to give to our controller. And in here, it's a class, and we have a function. We will create a function called register member. Let's use the camel case. So the name of this route is going to be register member as well. Then we terminate it. So you have successfully created your route for members, registering a new member. So what I would want you to do is, in order for you or for us not to get any error, you would want to define your controller. So let's create our controller. So I want you to open your terminal and type this code, command. you have successfully created a controller. So in Laravel PHP, this is how we import a folder or a file from a different directory. You use a use and you navigate to where you have your controller. So in here, our controller exists in our app and HTTP, and you have controllers here, and you can see the controller that we just created. So let's navigate to that directory. We have our app, we have our HTTP, right? It goes down to controllers. And we have what? Our member controller. All right. Okay, that's not the right syntax. It's rather like this. Please check it well. Okay, so we've successfully imported our route. Although we've written this code, but then it is not seen it's not recognized by Laravel. So what we are going to do is we are going to optimize it for the system to use whatever changes we've done. So in order for you to optimize it, you run this command. All right, so we've successfully optimized it. Now let's define our function in our controller. All right, now we've defined our function. So what do we want to return in our function? Okay, so every function has something it returns. So in our situation, we want to return the view. We all know that a view is also known as the user interface. Okay, so in order for us to return our view successfully, we have to define that particular view we want to return. So going back to our resources, under our views, we want to create a new folder called pages. And in our pages, we are going to have register member. Okay, so in here, we are going to display our registration form. All right, so let's define our route here. In order for us to test that everything is working fine, let's just print an H1 tag that says, hello, I am the registration. And down here, we would write the return, and we want to return this view. So in the view, we would want to return what we have a folder called pages, and in our pages we have what? Member. You terminate it, and everything is perfectly fine. Now we've defined our route correctly, and we've also created our controller successfully. For us to be able to access this route, we have to go back to our sidebar and change the href of the add a new member, right? Okay, so in here we'll write the inbuilt method called a route. In our route, we'll call the name of the route we just defined, which is register member. So let's go back to our project to see if everything is working perfectly fine. Let's refresh and try to access the route. So you can see everything is working perfectly fine, and you can see our route here. The name is register a member. All right, so what we would want to do is you would want to go back to your code, to your view where you have your register member, and I would want you to copy whatever it is in the welcome.blade and paste it down here, right? So you have this in your register member. What I would want you to do now is I would want you to cut this. Okay, so Now you can see we have everything here. So let's go back to our overview to see if everything is working as we have done. All right, now you can see everything is working perfectly fine. We can test it by running this our h1 tester, h1, right? And just write hello, the register to see if everything is working perfectly fine. So let's refresh one more time to see what we have here. Okay, all right. Okay, I think it's got to do with our UI. So what we would want to do now is we would want to insert our form inside our register member. So now I would want you to go back to your template and open it. So when you open it, I believe you will see something like this. So what we actually need here is we want to go to our form and choose the form basic. Actually, this is what we need. We are going to just edit some things here, and we are going to use any of these forms. All right, so this is how we get the particular one we want. In our situation, we are going to use the default basic form. So I'm just going to copy the name, go back to the folder where I have the templates, and look for form basic.html. So as you can see, this is form basic.html, and I would want to open it with my text editor. So now that I've opened it with my text editor, I'll press Command Control F on Windows to search for what I just copied. So now I'm having what I just copied. I would want to copy it, copy whatever that I want, go back to my registration and paste it down here. You know, most of the things we are not going to need, we will not need them, right? So what I would want you to do is I would want you to cut most of the things out. So let's just cut these ones out. We don't need them. We don't need them. So I think it needs one day. Yes. And when the input fields, we don't need most of them. We just need 3. So we just need 3. Yeah. Let's cut all what we don't need it. Let's cut it off. All right. All right. So we don't need this one too as well. Okay. So let's go back to our review to see what we have now. Okay, you can see our form is showing, but then it's still not appearing and where we want it to appear. So let's solve that issue. In order for us to fix this problem we are facing now, this is what we are going to do to fix this problem. So what you would want to do is you would want to write this class. It's a bootstrap class called to center all what we want to see, right? Okay, so let's refresh and see what we have now. Okay, you can now see that our form is displaying as we want. So let's edit it to the number of input fields we want. Okay, so what we want first is we would want the row. The row is going to be a select option, right? We want to have a row, the role of the user, and we will take the username and the mobile number. So we'll take the name, member name. Mobile number. All right. Okay, so let's save and see what we have now. Okay, so you can see we have our role, our member name, mobile number as well. We will need a button as well. Okay, so let's find ourselves a button in our template. So I want you to go back to your template and go and look for the UI element. Okay, I'm sorry. So you would want to go to your buttons and look for a nice button for yourself. Personally, I would want us to use this button. This one, the block button. So you go to where you have your templates file and look for UI block, UI button.html css. So let's look for it. UI button. UI button. And you open it with your favorite text editor. So let's search for the button that we want. And this is the button that we want, and these are the classes. So let's just copy this particular button. We need it right here. Let me close this guard. We need it down here. Okay. And let's arrange it well. And we will want to give it a level of save member or add member. Okay, so let's go back to see what we have if everything is working perfectly as we want it. Okay, so now you can see add member down here and our input flow. All right, so congratulations, you've been able to create your member and you've been able to prepare your template, define your route. So in our next video, what you are going to do is you are going to create a new table and define the columns and models as well. So I want to add this last text to our what we are doing now. Okay, so in the part one of this video of this particular playlist, I taught you how to create or prepare a repo to accept any new push. So what we are going to do now is we are going to push to the additional to add up to the codes that we've written or we've pushed already. So I want you to open your terminal and write this command with me. Git add. Write git commit. So the git commit, as I said earlier, is more like a comment that will allow you to remember whatever that you've written. Started with registration. Well, and now I write the git push origin main. And you have successfully pushed your GitHub account. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please share, subscribe, and like this video. See you in the next playlist. Thank you very much.